Breaking news tonight, Mike is wanted for evading police and disgracing the streets. Bysider footage shows Mike in full flight. Authorities describe him as fast and deeply embarrassing. More on this at 9.
Give me a look.
Oh hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a new day. Today actually we'll be working on that little guy.
That little fella.
Oh, that little guy. I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
So I guess I can give you guys a quick run through of what's been going on. This truck is for one of our good customers, Mark, who started off coming here just looking to upgrade a little bit like everyone does. So he was like, well, what's the most power we can make out of pump gas, daily driven, blah blah blah. So we hooked Mark up with a stage 2 package that made roughly close to 800 horsepower, high sevens.
A bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit.
800, which is basically the limitation on pump gas on stock block, stock blower, stock everything basically. So we ran that for a little while, then he started getting bored with the power level and wanted to go faster, so we upgraded it to our E85 race package, which brought us closer to about 900, 9 and change. He had some fun with that. He started getting into some racing and stuff like that, which I think gave him the bug or the itch to go faster. So he asked me, how can we go faster while still making it, you know, semi-daily-able? So with that, we upgraded the stock motor, or no, we left the stock motor and just upgraded with one of these bad boys. Damn! Gen 6 Whipple, stage 2 race package, full bananas, and the truck was very impressive. I mean, he won a bunch of races with it, and it was working. It was working well on the stock block. We were getting to the limitation of the transmission. The more we were turning it up, the more the transmission was slipping. So that's kind of the limitation where you end up getting to, is these transmissions will take a lot, but roughly around 1,000 horsepower or 1,000 foot-pounds of torque
Today, Junior?
is where we find they start to slip. So, new year, new him. He said, listen, I want the fastest Trackhawk in Canada. So, if any of you know, we originally held the record here for quite some time with our camo Jeep. We even held the world record temporarily back in the day when everyone was actually racing Trackhawks as Trackhawks with stock blowers and stuff like that. Now obviously things have gotten way out of hand in the Trackhawk world, so guys are building basically pro mod Trackhawks, fully gutted, cages, carbon panels, blah blah blah. I could go on and on, but very cool to see it evolve. So Mark and I spoke, and he said, listen, I'd like to get that Canadian record back. And I said, well, I know how to do it. there's been a lot of advancements with power adders for these trucks and a lot more products coming out. So I said, hey, if you let me build you something, I guarantee you we'll take that record. So here we are. It's been basically since April. I got the truck back together. We took his motor out, which is sitting over there. We put a new motor in. We're gonna leave the displacement alone for now, but it's a Gen 3 HEMI, same idea. We decided to go with twin turbos. Now, instead of fabricating our own kit, which some people have done, the guys over at Holley have put together a turbo kit, which is relatively bolt-on. So we picked a set of turbos for this thing that I think will work well with the engine. We worked with Modern Muscle Extreme, MMX, down in Virginia to build this combination, camshaft, profile, heads, everything else. And yeah, so now we've got turbos undermounted under the bed or under the truck here. So it's a twin turbo setup. As you can see, Holley turbos with our return feed obviously comes up through here. And then we got a scavenge pump up here to pull the oil, bring it up to the top. And I am currently today started to drain the gas tank because we are going to be removing the factory gas tank because we'll no longer be running the factory tank. We have a special tank that we've got built by our good buddy Mike at Southern Chassis Works. So that's going to be going in the back of the truck. We're going to tie in the fuel pipe, fuel fill pipe from the side here. That's going to be going into our new tank. We're going to get rid of this tank, so I got to take out the drive shaft here and yeah, keep working on this thing. I know Mark's excited to get this going, so we've got a few parts coming this afternoon, hopefully. That'll help us with the fuel system. We've got all the fuel lines ran for now to here because we are waiting on the filters, the pump. We're going to be doing an inline pump, sump tank. So semi-race car while still keeping this thing basically daily drivable. That was kind of the goal with this, keeping the full interior, keeping it still all track hawk, but making it fast as fuck. So with that, we're going to take this drive shaft out and get to work on this thing. All right, well, we got all the bolts undone. So what I like to do, some people do it, some don't. I like to mark where the shafts were lined up before so that they stay balanced. So we put a mark on both sides like this. So there we go. So we have an idea when we put it back, it all goes back together the same way. That way we're not worried about vibration. It might not matter, but I like to put things back the way they came out because if there's not a problem, why start a problem? So we gotta undo these two bolts here, drop the shaft out of here, and then start pulling down this gas tank. All right, guys, well, we got the fuel tank out. Now that was a mission for sure. This is a saddle tank that comes in these trucks like that, goes in that giant hole here. So now we've got a huge opening here, lots of room for activities. So we're gonna have to deal with this. Like I said, we're going inline pump, so we actually got a delivery, I think. Gonna check it out. Maxwell, we gotta check it out. Hey. Maxwell. Loves being outside, but it's way too hot. Back up. Yeah, it's like 115 degrees today. It is disgusting. So, we've got a couple boxes in the back here. Always love getting packages from Summit. Once they say Summit on them, you know it's gonna be a party. So, we'll head back into the shop because it's gross out here. And we got the AC pumping. And see what we got in the box. Okay, we cleared a little real estate here on the table here. Let's see what we got in this box. I'm pumped. Looks like a whole box of fun. Let's get at her. All right, so we've got Automotive regulator, Automotive 10 gallon per minute fuel pump, both filters, bunch of fittings, pretty much everything else we had left over here for this fuel system. So like I said, we're going to be running a tank in the back of the truck and then running all the fuel system standalone down through here out to the front. So that's the plan today. Got to take some stuff off of the fuel tank and start mapping out how we are going to run this fuel system moving forward from here. So with that, I'm going to start figuring some stuff out, I guess.
A few moments later.
As you can see, my supervisor is keeping an eye on everything down there, making sure we don't screw around and keep working today. So we've got our fuel pump mounted. Now you may be wondering why it looks like this and it's going through there, because we're still going to have factory exhaust coming through here. So the exhaust is going to come through, curve around, come out here like this. And same thing on this side. So the only way to mount this pump and filter is going into our sump up there was to do it in the middle here. So we have the line running. It runs nicely all through here, comes around through here. I got 2 filter brackets coming, so we're gonna bracket that up nice, and then obviously runs to the front. So under here, here's our exhaust and how the turbos look. So we've got our dome sensor back here. We've got our wastegates tied in, so this ties into the front of the turbo. In this area, we've got a T for our dome pressure. That'll be running into the cab. And then we still have to run our line from there to the front of the turbo to this port, which still needs to be done. We're gonna work on that now. And then this T here is gonna be feeding to our CO2 bottle. So we're gonna run a line now up, probably up through the firewall where we are going to mount the CO2 bottle, probably on the passenger side. So yeah, it's definitely coming along here. All right, well, we got the fuel pump and everything mounted. We'll lift up the truck in a second. We got this fuel cell here, built by our buddy Mike, Southern Chassis Works. It's going to be going down in this pocket here, coming around to the front. Been working on tying in all the fuel rails and such. We've got the regulator lined out here, built a custom bracket to tie it in down here, so this thing is solid. Because a lot of times I know when you mount a regulator on the fuel line like this, or on the fuel rails, this vibrates, and then these get loose and you start to get fuel leaks. So we've got our bracket tied in down here.
Not bad, not bad.
Which locks this all in, makes it one piece solid to the motor. Got our fuel lines connected. we're gonna run our vacuum line now to our vacuum block that I just installed down there. Catch can's gonna go here. So slowly coming together. We've got a custom intercooler box that we're gonna put on this side, somewhere in this area, because we have an interchiller on this truck that uses the air conditioning to cool the manifold water. Back when it had the factory Hellcat blower, we put an interchiller which uses the AC. So we're going to use the interchiller again, so we don't actually require an ice box. So we're going to put a reservoir, bigger reservoir in here that's going to tie in these lines. So that should be here hopefully early next week. He shipped it today. So I'm going to finish tying in. We need to tie in all the vacuum sources now and get all this done, and then we can go back to the back and take a look at all the fuel stuff. Alright, so we got the vacuum lines hooked up. We got some extra line now that we got to run down to the turbos. So we got our vacuum source for the regulator. We got our vacuum source for the intake. That's taken care of. We still need to make an extension on the fuel pressure sensor right here. That can be done after. So we're going to lift. Alright guys, we got the fuel tank. We just drilled in the new lid for the fuel tank and looking for some ideas for the CO2 bottle. I am thinking right here is actually a perfect spot. If we mount this in the back corner here, as you can see, it's all factory like this. And we open up the hatch. The only problem will be that little thing. You gotta curve it. Ta-da! We got our fuel cell in the back, branded. We still got to run the fill pipe to that side and the sump out there, but I'm really liking how all this stays under there, keeps it all factory. Put your groceries and stuff on top. You got your CO2 bottle over there. I think that's the route we're going to take. We still got to put the interior back in, but should be fully functional streetcar stuff.
Oh, groovy, baby.
A few moments later.
Waiting on a couple of things to finish the Trackhawk. We were very close to firing that up. Just waiting on some fittings and such. Fuel system's pretty much done. Just got to tie in some things. Last night, working on the good old Shoptruck. We got our new prototype turbos back from True North Turbo. So obviously we had to paint them green, because that's how we do it. Yeah, can't really disclose too much about those. We're going to be doing a bunch of testing with them to get some information. I'm looking forward to that. I love the stuff True North puts out. Nick is an awesome dude, so I know he's very intelligent, so I wouldn't be surprised if these work extremely well. So, up super late, getting that done, because we don't have a lot of time to work on our own stuff. And plugging away on this 2022 TRX. We are doing an interchiller system on it. So this is the new reservoir for that. We got the chiller down here. For you, those of you who don't know what an interchiller is, it basically uses the air conditioning out of the truck to cool the intercooler liquid, which gives you more power out of the supercharger. In essence, it's like having an ice box without having to use ice. I'd love to actually put this on the S10 because it would save us a ton of money on making ice. But speaking of which, we've been making ice all week, so we almost got a full cooler here. That should make about 10 to 12 bags, which was free. Just took a little bit of time and water to make, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, tell me what you guys want to know or want to see, what kind of stuff you're looking at for the channel here. I'm going to keep working on this today. The fitting should be here later this afternoon. So once I get those, I can get back on point on that. For the truck, I'm just waiting for some exhaust pieces. I'm going to be making some new exhaust for the turbos. Everything is fresh now. We've done the exhaust from the headers back all the way to the turbos. So now the turbos, I'm going to give them a new exhaust as well. So everything will be new, fresh, and we'll get some good data on that. So with that, I'm going to get to work over here, and we'll see you guys in a bit. I don't know if you guys ever seen this before, but these are little, basically heat shrinks for pipe. I'm sure you've seen them before, but pretty cool idea. So they come in this cardboard to keep them obviously circular and not to shrink. So you got to crush the cardboard first in order to get them out. And then once you crush the cardboard like this, just push it out of here. Now you have this little plastic piece. And then when you have a piece of pipe like these, they're shrink wrapped. This is basically this. You heat it up with a heat gun. So you put this over the pipe, connect your pipe to your fitting, and then heat it up, and it holds the pipe basically to the fitting. Pretty cool little system that people have come up with for all this stuff. So yeah, we're gonna keep working on this, and we'll be back. All right, well, we got the TRX done. They actually sent us the wrong fitting for one of the inner chiller pieces here. So I won't be able to put the grill back on or fire up the system yet. They are overnighting the wrong piece that they sent. It's part of the game, I guess. How this stuff goes sometimes. Not everyone's perfect, so it's okay. We gotta wait for that part, then we can put the grill back on there. So we are gonna get back to work on the Jeep. Some of the pieces I was waiting for arrived today. So we're gonna try to get that fuel system together so everything is running to the front. We're gonna pull the shop truck out of here to get that out of our way. Make sure nothing is leaking on the new turbo install. Put that back in the box and then get back to work on the Jeep. So the work never ends here. Keep on rolling. All right guys, we got the truck pulled out. We are going to do a spool test on these new turbos that we got here. We got everything tied in. We'll put a little ice in the back here, and then we'll do a spool test. So the expectation here is they are a completely new design, ball bearing, which I prefer. I've said it 100 times. Different blade design, everything is different. So the expectation from what I've been told is they may be take a little longer to spool, but the offset of that is they're gonna make a lot more power up top, and that's normally where we win races. So we're trying to optimize the setup of this truck, especially with no prep stuff. Everybody seems to be going real fast up top. So we need that same kind of power push on the back side. So we're gonna jump in the truck now and spool these up. All right, we did 2 spool tests. Transmission's obviously hot now, so we got the cooler going. let the transmission cool down. It's hard on it doing that kind of stuff, spooling over and over. So we'll let it cool down, and we'll assess the data and take a look at what we got going on and see the difference between the new and the old. It sounded like it took a little longer to spool, but we've also changed some of the exhaust side on the truck, made it a little bit bigger, so we've lost a little velocity, but again, that's helped us up top. So this is a game of playing between optimizing different levels of power basically in the truck, and where we want to make big power, we're sacrificing certain things for other things. So we'll take a look at the computer and see what we got.